Welcome back. This should be the third and final video of me setting up my Dewalt Radial Arm Saw. Today, I've got the table all built and leveled and dialed in. That's really crucial. And it's the first step because everything you do kind of builds off of the table. So that's dialed in. And I can now kind of put a piece of lumber on here. I know that it's going to be flat and straight. Now I just have to calibrate the saw so that it's cutting square and straight and all of that. So it's just a matter of some adjustments, and then I will be ready to use this on some interesting and pretty large projects that I have coming up. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check that when I pull it out, this arm of the radial arm is square. So I've got a square here. I think will kind of get me pretty close. A sheet of plywood would work for this too because they're always square, but I don't have a sheet of plywood, so I'm going to stick with a framing square. I'm just going to pull it out here and bump it up there, and then just pull it along and ensure that it is in contact the whole way. Now, if I need to change the way that it's square, this lever right here obviously locks it in this notch. That tightens it down. So if I lift it up here, it can do like 45s at some other angle. But for my fine-tune adjustment, there's a screw here and a screw here. So to adjust this, I'm going to make sure that that's loose because that will clamp it and keep it from moving or moving easily. This is a 1/8 inch Allen set screw. And I'm just going to loosen that here and here. And now I can just take this, and if I loosen this side just a little bit, and then tighten this side just a little bit, that will move it ever so slightly into square. Okay, so we've ensured gloves. It's cold. We've ensured that the radial arm is square with the fence, but the blade itself has to be parallel to the arm, so it could still be skewed this way. So if we take and put a square here across the blade, I can see that actually it's not square, and that this side's a little forward and this side's a little back. So it's like toe or heel in, I think is the technical term. And you can actually sometimes tell that by the way the saw is cutting. And I can see it's off just by putting a square on there. So that comes down to adjusting this right here. There are 3 set screws that you can tighten or loosen to change the adjustment here. So that's what we're after. Alright, so here there are 3 set screws. The nut on them locks them in place. So we have to loosen the nut first. And now we can adjust the set screws. You can see 3 set screws. There's like 3 axes of control, so that you can really kind of move it in and out one way or the other. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but I've got a 5/32 Allen wrench that will fit in these set screws. Alright, edit. We're on the opposite side of the saw now, and on this side there are 3 large Allen bolts. 5/16. Loosening them allows for some large adjustment on this axis. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to move on to the other side and do some fine adjustment. All right, now the saw table will hold this square. Right now it's definitely not. Big gap here at the bottom. So if I hold it up and lower it, now the saw table will hold it a little bit closer. So we're just going to keep doing that. Where does that put us? Ooh, that puts us pretty close. All right, so with that being pretty close, I'm gonna go ahead and snug everything up. And then I can put the nuts back on to lock it in place. We'll test it out. All right, I think I've got it pretty dialed in. Try and cut some things. All right, let's try ripping it. Yeah, I like to see that. That looks promising. Awesome, I call that a success. Able to just slice off nice, thin, even pieces. Always a good sign. I think it's ready for me to start building things with it. Might need some few minor adjustments down the road. But if all goes well, then next time I put something together, I will be building a deck. Thanks for joining me. It's been fun. Super excited to have this piece back in operation. Like I said, I've had it for years, and I first started working with it when my grandpa started teaching me carpentry when I was 11 or 12 years old. My grandpa died and gave it to me, and this is really kind of the first time I've been able to set it up properly since he died. So it means a lot to me, and it's a great piece of equipment. Love using it. I'm really happy and excited to be working on it again, and I'm glad that you can join me for this journey. I think it'll be exciting. It's probably worth noting that I'm not a professional. I've been working on this saw for many, many years. I'm very comfortable with it, but there is obviously risk, and something that I do you should not necessarily assume is safe for you. I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, and I know my equipment. Don't do something unless you're comfortable with it, right? If you get a saw, know how to use it and make sure that you're comfortable with your ability to keep yourself safe, because I am not the safety expert. All right, thanks again.